What do you think is the number one predictor of there being use in a home?
An absent parent.
Okay, very, very reasonable answer. The number one predictor is 100-fold more predictive than anything that's on that board. I've lectured this a million times.
Segovia, back to another video. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, having a good weekend. And if you guys got a good 3-day weekend, hope you're having a good time, spending some time with your family, drinking responsibly. But we're back, y'all. We're back on this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Got the red, white, and blue in the back. Who's better than me, right? We ain't gonna do too much talking though, y'all. We got an 1 and 6-minute video here without me even chit-chatting. I know I say this all the time, but today I am gonna try not to chit-chat too much. But we're gonna get into it, y'all. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
VO3 has ended the internet. 1983 to 2025. Like, say goodbye. It's done. Everything you see from here on out, you cannot trust. Like, we all knew that this was coming. Everybody has talked about how the more the technology progresses, the more indistinguishable from reality it's going to become. It's here. 2025. You're alive for it. Like, it's so real that I could be AI now. You don't know. You literally don't know. I am real, for the record. I hope. This is literally the end, guys. I don't know what to do. Like, how many creators are gonna blow up that aren't real? And, like, no one's gonna know. They've already made, crazy. Like, a fake news video of a woman saying that, like, J.K. Rowling's yacht was sunken by orcas? And that can already show you where people's priorities are. It's been out for 1 day, and they've already been creating fake news clips. Like, your 83-year-old grandma is cooked. She's done, bro. She already couldn't understand GTA graphics. She already thought that was real. My mom thought Halo Reach looked realistic on the Xbox 360. This is before I even understood what an HDMI cable was. I was running it at 480p. But also think about little kids. Like, when I was a little kid, I used to watch movies like Spider-Man 1 and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and like, I thought it was real. Like, it looked real, and these are movies. Little kids are definitely not gonna know the difference. There's no way. They're like, if you're like 4 or 5 and you see like a Google VO3 video, you're gonna think it's a real person. Like, oh my god. I've already seen videos of people going into public, taking photos of people, using AI in real time to generate a fake video of them taking their shirt off, and then showing it to the person and being like, hey, is this you? Like, you're going famous, you're going viral on TikTok right now. Can I get a photo with you? Just, like, be careful, because, like, it's over, dude. Like, you're cooked. We're all cooked. It's literally over. This is like the apocalypse of the internet.
I've seen the new studies and worked with the best athletes in the world. And the key to getting the body you want is to lift heavy without warming up. Science got it all wrong. And there is a new study out, and we actually need to sleep less. There has been new studies, and eating high sugar percentages each day,
facial expressions,
increases
emotions.
Overall happiness.
That's crazy.
Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Maybe sin isn't what we thought. Maybe we're not broken. Maybe God sees us as already good. Because in the Bible, God said it was good after he created us. So what if? There is no hell. And what if heaven is right now?
Everything you just watched was AI. None of it was real. If you want to know the future for our world, you're going to want to see what I'm going to show you next. Artificial Narrow Intelligence, or ANI, Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, this is where we currently are, Artificial Superintelligence, ASI. The difference is this one behaves like a human, and this one is smarter than humans. And I promise you that singularity is coming probably way quicker than most of you realize. And in case you forgot, during Trump's first week in office, he initiated a massive AI project $500 billion over 4 years from these investors, Mayoshi Son with SoftBank, Larry Ellison with Oracle, Sam Altman with OpenAI ChatGPT, including that OpenAI has committed to building a giant UAE data center in global expansion. And let's not forget a very important part of this meeting in Saudi Arabia, unveiling a groundbreaking AI venture called Humane, making Saudi Arabia the global AI powerhouse. And the US is going to start manufacturing advanced chips with a new facility being built out in Arizona, a massive project that's going to be the hub for all chips built in the US. Billions of chips. No, Neil, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just fear-mongering. This guy knows what he's doing. He says the name of Jesus, the world is going to be okay. My friend, I'm just showing you what's right in front of us. And if you can't see it, either A, you have no discernment, B, you don't know the Word of God, C, you don't care, or D, the worst, is you don't know Christ. Revelation 13, the image of the beast, AI, robots, quantum computing, my friend, it is here. And the reason why people dismiss it is because they don't see it yet, so they think it's just a fairy tale. In a short while, give it 1 year, 3 years, we're going to start seeing all of this around us. But the good news is that for those who follow Christ, who have repented of their sins to seek the righteousness found in Christ alone, my friend, we are not appointed to wrath. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to see any evil. How much of it we're going to see, we don't know. So that's why we got to make sure that we are spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically ready. The world is changing quick, but not Jesus. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. We're living in the last seconds of the last days, and I'm trying to do everything I can to wake you up. I hope that you're listening. I'm the watchman standing on the wall, and I'm sounding the alarm.
The Diddy stuff is blowing my mind. Especially Cassie was so down for everything.
This is like, and I'm not calling Cassie this by no means. This is like a lady of the evening saying, I'm finna put my pimp on trial after all the stuff that you was out there doing the stuff actively, and now it's totally his fault. He talked you into it. Like, that's deep.
What blew my mind was she's in the bed with Diddy, FaceTiming her husband and answering. What? And I don't know if it came out that he knew Diddy was in the bed with her or not. Did the husband know that story already? I knew he knew a lot. Did he know that?
But he worked for Diddy, didn't he?
He was her trainer.
So he had already saw a lot. I don't even watch the trial. I just hear people saying, like, I didn't know nothing about the semen on the nipples and all that until somebody told me. I was like, who is that? Like,
this whole I need to look into this, y'all.
We talking about splash and now like, semen on the nipples.
I was like, yo, man, what is Diddy got going on, man? I need to know what he is charged with.
I thought it was like a RICO case. That's what I kept thinking of. Where are the guns? Where's all this stuff that's supposed to be?
The RICO case that I'm familiar with is it's a lot more bodies and guns and drugs and money laundering. It's like, it's all this, but this is like, no, he nutted in my hand and I rubbed it on him. Like, what? This is not RICO.
They just released the male escorts. I kept looking for a RICO out of all them faces. I go, oh, that's Rico Johnson. The only thing I can equate it to is, again, a guy unnameless that I know the story's true was when you get into business and you're young, you get a lot of money, you get every woman you want. And I hope I never get to this level. Plus, I'm older now, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to be in my 20s. But you start with one girl, then you get to 2 girls, then it's 3 girls, then it's 4 girls. At one point, you're like, all right, I'm just going to try something different. I was like, I never want to have that much. Then I just done with.
I'm never going to try nothing different. Because if I get to 6 girls, and I want to try something different. What that is 7. Like, I'm going to 7 girls. Like, and they're like, yo, what does 13 girls feel like? Like, it's going to still be a girl involved in whatever new adventure I want. Hey, listen. Let me tell y'all, I'm tired of having this regular. I need everybody to dress up in costumes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we doing. We like, yo, I just knocked off Miss Incredible. From the Incredibles. It was Mrs. Incredible. It was the lady from the Jetsons. You know what I'm saying? The robot. Like everybody gotta get dressed up.
We were sinners. One of them hit me.
And I'll be like this, yo, the body paint girl was the best. Yeah. Like it's never gonna be, oh, Larry was awesome. Like, no.
Diddy's head of security was Fahim Muhammad. Quote, in 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in business administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Michael Jackson died just 1 year after Fahim apparently graduated from college. Fahim was Michael Jackson's head of security and apparently second on the scene when Michael died. Then Fahim winds up as Diddy's head of security. Kind of weird. By the way, before we get off of Fahim Muhammad, remember his specialty in real estate from college? Well, he owns a real estate company, and he apparently has land right on the Mexico border. Check this out.
Fahim Muhammad bought 198 acres out here in Boulevard to get away.
It's real quiet.
The wall is right there. Remember, that's from back during Biden's term when there was all kinds of problems at the border. If you owned land on the border where no one was there, I have a feeling there were people jumping over a fence, dropping babies over a fence and running through your land. That's a whole other dig, though. But just suffice it to say that I have questions about why exactly did you choose to buy all that land right on the border wall, Fahim, while you're simultaneously the head of security of this sort of trafficking operation that's having these freak offs where there's allegations that there were party favors and stuff like that. Yeah, I can't help but feel like they're trying the wrong case in court.
Get ready to file this one under, I can believe it, but it's the sickest thing I've ever heard. United Healthcare fell 6% today on the stock market after news broke that they were secretly paying nursing homes to reduce hospital transfer rates. You know what that means? That means when your grandma in the nursing home is sick enough to need to go to the hospital, these nursing homes were taking kickbacks secretly from an insurance company to prevent grandma from going to the hospital. So what was the end result of that? Huh? What's the end result? Is grandma still, how many, now we need to find out how many people passed away because they didn't get hospital transfers that they needed because they were getting secret kickbacks from insurance companies. And once we find out how many people passed away because of that, we need to start filing actual charges against these companies who are killing people.
Did you know buffaloes, when they sense a storm coming, they run towards the storm? The reason they run towards the storm is because they know as they're running and the storm's coming, they spend less time in the storm. Most people feel a storm, they run away. You spend more time in the bad weather. Most people don't realize that the pain they're going through today is to get them ready for the thing they've been asking for. If you actually knew that today's challenge was setting you up to be able to receive the thing you've been asking for, you would be excited about the challenge of today.
That was all real right there, what he said, y'all. That was all real. Everything, like, I've been through a lot in my life, y'all. Everything I've been through, I'm reaping the benefits now, right? I'm reaping the benefits. I'm eating the fruit off of the tree that got planted when I was 17, 18, going through all those tough times, all those school dances I never went to, prom, never got the secret candy on Valentine's Day that anonymous people send to you, never got my yearbook signed, all those hard times, lonely times that I went through in that past, people walking out of my life at the drop of a dime, not giving me a second chance, you know what I mean? Just all those hard times, anyone going through those hard times right now, if you learn how to channel it right, some people go through those hard times and they just say, F this world. I'm going to treat everybody like crap. I'm going to hate everybody. The world sucks, right? But if you go through those hard times with that little bit of faith and a little bit of hope that it's going to get better, you're a very dangerous man or woman, y'all. You can accomplish anything you put your mind to, y'all. I'm living proof of that. So what he said right there was real truth, real facts, y'all.
We are living at a time, remember I keep talking about, coming to the end of a 25,920-year cycle. We're moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. When you come through one of these huge cycles, all the stuff that has been buried and hidden bubbles up to the surface because we have to deal with that before we can go on. We can't cover it up again and start a new age. We have to face it. And in facing it, we have a chance to raise our consciousness and that we're going to try to become a better human being. We do it on an individual basis, one at a time. And that's what gets people into trouble. They want to do good by saving the rest of the world, and in the process, they can't save themselves. They frustrate themselves, realize they can't get the results that they expect when they want to save the world. Well, they've taken on too big a task. If you want to change the world, first change yourself. There's a lot each of us has to do to clean up our own act.
All our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. You know, and I think that's what I sussed when I was 16 and 12, way down the line. But I expressed it differently all through my life. It's the same thing I'm expressing all the time, but now I can put it into that sentence that I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends. You know, if anybody can put on paper what our government and the American government, etc., and the Russian, Chinese, what they are actually trying to do, you know, and what they think they're doing, I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane. You know, but I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. You know, that's what's insane about it.
Yeah, I'm going 3,000 miles from California to Virginia Beach. Okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Skateboarding across the country.
What in the world?
Yeah. You ever ride a skateboard before?
No.
No? What do you do?
I work at a show farm.
Okay.
Show horses just down this road.
Yeah? And will you train them or?
I help them, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. What was your name again?
Daniel.
Daniel. I'm Chad. Nice meeting you, man.
Yeah.
You're good.
Back in November of 2022, Kanye West was interviewed multiple times, and the consistent theme of each interview was that every celebrity is controlled by those that are paying them, which is the reason they will not speak up against the entertainment industry. In one of those interviews, Kanye told people that his mother was a sacrifice. If you were one of the people that listened to Kanye's music over the years, you would know that he has commonly referred to himself as Jesus, which to me explains the ideology of entertainers feeling like gods on earth. And I believe Kanye began turning his life to Jesus after he fell in love with being a father. It was at that time he realized the false idols he was worshiping and had to make a change for his children.
You know, as I now have a family, I'm 42 years old and married for 5 years. There's a blatant responsibility for me to become more like my mother who's gone to heaven. So, man, that's why I say the song Closed on Sunday is the hardest record ever made, as hard as the NWA record, because it's talking about protecting your kids from the indoctrination of the media, the thousands and thousands of images that are fed to children by the age of 6 or 7. And within those images, there are images mixed in that we don't know about as parents that are purposely mixed in to lower the kids' superpower and esteem so that they can be more susceptible to consumption and feel that they need to consume and become a part of the robotic numeric system that controls so much of the media.
I mean, bro, don't get me started, man.
I'm not saying that everyone's supposed to sit back. I understand what you're saying, but as of
what are we supposed to do? All the bombs are in schools. They're all fucking under. They're all in schools. They're all underneath schools. They're all in fucking bedrooms. Missiles underneath kids' beds.
I get it.
Tunnels. The tunnels are under the schools.
I understand conceptually what's happening.
They fucking send a memo. They tell people you got to leave. At the very least, they'd send a memo. They fucking drop shit from the sky. Fucking leaflets. They tell people, get the fuck out of here. We're going in. We're gonna find these tunnels. We're looking for our fucking hostages. Right. Innocent civilians that you fucking broke down the wall and brought back to your fucking place. You think they didn't have this in mind? This is exactly what they want. They're a fucking death cult. They are a death cult. They want their people dead. They want their people dead so that the rest of the world will come against Israel. You know, it's not fucking hard to see.
I understand how it's playing out.
And they say it.
Going to bed South Africa style. When coming into your house, make sure the electric fence is on, spikes are set, front door is chained, Security motion light is activated. An interior padlock is set behind the metal doors. Then, coming into the house, you want to make sure that your baton and mace is by the front door. Front door is locked and closed. And also, the alarm is set. Now it's night-night time, South Africa style. How's it where you are?
So this is actually really crazy. Texas passes a bill to ban all THC products, which would get an adult jailed for a year with possession, well, up to a year with possession of any THC product. Y'all be careful out there. Texas actually did it. They're not playing. They're not playing around. Okay.
Wake your ass up.
It's a real Republican state. Y'all be careful. Y'all be safe out there. They're not playing. Okay.
Whenever I'm in Miami, I need anything. And I mean anything. We can't even discuss it. The things that this man is capable of bringing to you. But believe me, he has Miami on lock. But this is the love affair, baby. This is the love affair, baby.
Diddy and Ross and Kevin, they're all gay. Okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They're all gay?
Yeah.
What's a piece of movie propaganda you just aren't buying into? This thing about Avatar being the biggest box office movie of all time, I just don't believe it. Something's not right. The math ain't mathin'. Movies are a huge part of my life. I talk about them as a job. I have this account. I have a podcast dedicated to movies. I literally never encounter another human being in real life or on the internet who wants to discuss this film. And I almost never encounter someone who's even seen both of these movies. And yet they are supposedly the first and third highest grossing films of all time.
I've never seen the top three.
About these movies. Nobody ever quotes them. They're never referenced anywhere in popular culture. There's no memorable scenes or moments from the movie that people talk about. There's no memes about these movies. No, like, internet humor related to either of these movies. Look at these other...
Newsflash. None of the movies they come out with, like, got quotes you use, like, from the classics. We all know our classic movies that we got. You know, we know that movie word for word. We there's memes of them. I've never seen Avatar. I've never seen Avengers. I've never seen that Avatar. I've seen Titanic. Never seen that one. Never seen Star Wars Force Awakens. Like, these movies are garbage, y'all. You see them once and you never want to watch them again. It's just a quick hit of rush of adrenaline while you're watching it, and then you never think about it again. At least that's my opinion with these movies.
Movies up here on this list, excluding Niza 2, which is a Chinese animated film that's currently in theaters. Everybody talks about these other movies and references them all the time. There's still like theater reaction videos all over the internet from Endgame and No Way Home of like Doctor Strange's little circle and seeing the other Avengers come out. I teach children that were born 15 years after Titanic came out. And even those kids know Titanic and they joke like, oh, Jack could have fit on the door. Only thing I ever hear about this movie on the internet is the story that Matt Damon tells about turning down 10% of the gross because he couldn't be in the movie. How he jokes that he's turned down more money as an actor than probably any actor in history. And that's a story about Matt Damon. That has nothing to even do with the movie. The only thing you need to know about Avatar to enjoy that story is how much money Avatar made. Just something's not right. I just feel like something isn't right. I know the 3D ticket prices were higher. I know inflation and ticket prices in general. I know both movies were really big in international markets like China and India, but I still just feel like something isn't right. Why does nobody ever talk about this movie?
I saw this thing the other day and it was said like, if you hang around two people who both cuss, you're going to become the third. If you hang around two people who both party and all this stuff, you're going to become the third. And so we really need to check our circle and like who we're inviting into our lives, because if our friends aren't leading us back to God and they're not, being joyful and kind and patient, then we're going to become those things.
I mean, that's how I am, y'all. Like, I've brought people from the past back, and like, if you ain't gonna elevate me, if you ain't gonna make me feel good about myself, right? Like, elevate me, now I'm good alone, right? I wasted a lot of time with people that brought my frequency down. I got to a point in my life where I'm like, if you ain't bringing my frequency up, like I'm bringing yours up, giving you advice, helping you out. You cut hair, come cut my hair. You know what I mean? I'll pay you. Things like that. If you ain't bringing me up, like I'm trying to bring you up, I don't need you in my life. Cut you off, right? 34. I'm 35. I think I'm 34. I'm 35 years old, y'all. If you ain't bringing me up in life, like a lot of people are just hanging out with people that just to hang out so they're not alone, y'all. If they ain't making you a better person, go out there and make yourself a better person.
Today that he was sent here to look out for these working and middle class families who are strained right now. So what should they read into him leaving now at this time of great personal financial hardship for so many to go to Nantucket for the week?
Well, first I would say, Peter, that I hope you're spending time with your family. I'm spending time with my family, and hope everybody in here is spending time with their families. This is a time to put politics aside, spend time with your loved ones, and talk about what you're grateful for. I will also tell you from spending some time working for this president and a past president that you are president no matter where you are. He will conduct his work from wherever he is, on any vacation, on any time he is in Delaware, at Camp David, or wherever he may be spending time with his loved ones. He has secure phone capabilities. He has staff traveling with him, and I think the American people can be assured that he will continue to press to lower their costs and ensure they have more breathing room. First, I want to take a moment, though, to talk about a bit about something important, and that's something hopefully you're all experiencing right now, personal time. Hopefully this holiday weekend, you're able to take some of your own personal time to reflect or be with family or friends or barbecuing or going to the pool or whatever you may be doing. If you have kids like me, personal time is very hard to come by. I certainly cherish it. However, there is at least one person who is generally not afforded the privilege of personal time. And that person is the President of the United States, no matter who they are. And before you feel bad for any moment, this is what presidents sign up for, all of them. There are no on or off buttons for national crises or the all-encompassing responsibility of the presidency.
What advice would you give to someone like me that's my age, or maybe even younger, mid-20s, as to how to play the game over the coming years to make sure that I don't find myself in a position where I'm having to work 2 jobs, I'm poor, I don't have assets, I don't have anything to show for it?
The first part of the game is income. Without income, you don't have the cash to do the other things, to invest or to look for opportunities. So first thing is income. But even that's changing in how we earn incomes these days. It used to be you go and work for a big firm, you get paid, you get the benefit. That's all going and nobody wants to do it. So you kind of end up having to be an entrepreneur, work 2 or 3 different things. The point being, if you're 20s, do all of that. Work day and night.
Really?
Do as many things, learn as much as you can, fail as often as possible.
What about work-life balance in your 20s?
Fuck it. Because that's the time to put in the hard work. Your work-life balance actually comes out later. I'm a big believer in, yes, if you're straight out of university, go traveling for a year or 2. That, A, gets rid of the pent-up need, but also gives you a much broader perspective on the world than any other single thing that you can do in your life. After that, you get your head down, and you get your head down probably till your mid-30s.
What is one destination that you think everybody should go to once in their life?
For me, it's Venice.
Oh, Venice.
I sometimes get jealous of people who've never seen Venice. It's because I think, wow, you're seeing it for the first time.
There is nowhere like it in the world.
It is the most extraordinary city I've been to and go back to again and again. It's achingly romantic. It's so unique. It's so steeped in history.
It's incredible.
And because Venice is unique, I think everybody should see that at some point in their life, because unless you're made of stone, it takes your breath away.
It's obvious that there's an agenda against the disenfranchised and the uneducated. So ultimately, I think to counter that, we're going to have to talk to one another. One of the ways we used to do that was through our music. I grew up with the staple singers and Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye's What's Going On and stuff like that. And that particular sound, the sound of the people to voice our concerns in those areas is gone now.
Yeah. Should be about 500 meters, 30. What was that thing? Drop 2 weights. Tighten, drop 2 weights.
Was it that bang?
Copy. Tighten, drop 2 weight.
So you're telling me these reels that people scroll got people reeled in, and TikTok is taking people's time. And then I was like, wait a minute, algorithms got people hypnotized, and rhythm also happens to be the oldest form of inducing a trance. This is shamanism. Rhythmic breathing while drumming puts you in a trance. But there's no etymological ties between algorithm and rhythm. An algorithm is a set of sequences that dictate behavior. But wait a minute, rhythm is a set of sequences that influence behavior. So what's really going on? Are these things being channeled from somewhere, a different level of reality, almost like spirits? Are spirits just symbols? Is Jesus just a symbol? Is Buddha just a symbol? Or is that just half the truth? Well, tell a vision, you stare into a black mirror and it tells you a vision. Your phone is a black mirror, and black mirrors are used by witches to scry and channel spirits. What's really going on? Spelling, casting spells, grammar, grimoire? Is this half the truth or just coincidence? What's happening?
I think Diddy's list is Epstein's list, for sure. Because you have 2 billionaires from New York running around the same circles, right? Yeah. So you have these people that are wealthy, powerful, and they don't know each other. So what happened as soon as Diddy went down? Mike Jeffries gets indicted. The New York mayor, Eric Adams, gets indicted. Nobody's thinking about this, right? So you don't think he's telling? You don't think he's part of this? And Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, he was part of...
He got out.
He got out because he said he had dementia.
He was in the same jail, right?
Yes. And they say he has dementia, and now he's unfit for trial. That's bullshit, right? But Mike Jeffries is linked to Epstein because he was put in place by Lex Wexner, right? That owned Abercrombie & Fitch, L Brands. Now, L Brands, he owned a multitude of businesses. You know, he had Abercrombie & Fitch, he had Victoria's Secret. Now, who was his money manager and he left his estate to? None other than Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? So they're all running together. Like, and you don't think Diddy knows this?
You wear Queers for Palestine t-shirts and masks 2 years after the pandemic ended. And you can't define woman, I mean person who menstruates. You're the teachers union education party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but f*** your feelings. Look at this chart. Have you seen my "In this house we believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched. Democrats have become like a royal family that, because of so much incest, has unfortunately had children.
It's disgusting.
Yes, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Of course.
Right? Oh, I just drive like a shitty little Toyota. It's like, oh, actually, you're defrauding.
Michelle
millions of
Obama goes
people.
to Princeton for free and has been in the ruling class her whole life, and she's still lecturing you about how she's a victim of racism. Hillary Clinton, exact same thing. Goes to Wellesley, spends her entire life in the ruling class, and she's still whining about how she's discriminated against. Why are they doing that?
Yeah, you ever see pictures of Jimmy Carter's house
Yes.
and Obama's house? We would allow people who call themselves public servants.
Exactly.
You get to live in this insane mansion off what?
In a white neighborhood, you should
Yeah,
be
right.
required to live in
Well-
the hood if you're Barack Obama and
If you're using that card,
you
yeah.
use that card.
Yeah.
The only reason you got elected was because of your race. You spent your entire 8 years inflaming race hate in our country, and then you go to Martha's Vineyard, the whitest zip code in the world. Not allowed. Yeah, you're not allowed.
Checkmate.
To do that.
So I left corporate America a few months ago, and now all I do is talk shit about how much I hate corporate America. It's like my new full-time job. And I don't think I ever really talked about why I hate it so much. And there's a lot of reasons, but there's two main ones. The first one, everything in corporate America is bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. What leadership is yapping about in your little all-hands meeting, bullshit. What you're working on, bullshit. How you act with your coworkers and like this little persona that you have to put on, bullshit. I spent 40% of my time, and I worked in tech as a product manager, which is basically like think a TV producer, but for a piece of technology. I spent 40% of my time trying to forecast how much money a feature will potentially bring in. Which, it doesn't matter the forecasting metrics, it doesn't matter the calculations, no matter what you do, it's bullshit. There's no way to predict how much money something will bring in accurately. We're like operating in this fantasy world working off of monopoly money, and it was so serious. Like, I had to run the calculations by my manager, then she had to run it by her manager, then they had to run it by their manager, and all the way up the ladder for literally something that is not real. And guess what? At the end of the year, we would try to match up forecasts versus how something actually performed. They never did. They never matched up because we're operating in fucking fantasy land, not in the real world. And I'm wasting all of my time doing this. Number two, I really think that corporate demands too much of our life force. 40 hours a week? First of all, I don't think working 40 hours a week in general on anything is healthy. And I don't exactly know what an optimal schedule looks like. I'm working on figuring that out right now, so stay tuned. But especially not when your entire job is complete bullshit. For me, the least I could do was work really hard on something that can straight up be thrown into the trash can because it doesn't matter. And the best I could possibly do was make a couple million for a fucking corporation that, guess what, does not need it.
The fuck you mean you lost Annabelle? Now? You lost Annabelle right now.
How?
Okay. All right, like shit couldn't get worse. Okay.
What do you...
I make $13 an hour.
How crazy is it that you can take 2 sticks and find water underground?
I'm so confused.
You've never heard of dowsing rods?
No.
Insane. That's how they find wells. It is legitimately insane, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years. Who's the first guy where he's like, well, if I have some metal in my hands and I walk very slowly and they start to cross like this, that's when I find water underground.
I can't believe that. That is so cool.
It's so cool.
I'm mind blown right now.
Your iPhone won't let you talk about Dave & Buster's.
What does that even mean?
If you mention Dave & Buster's in a voice message, the message won't send through. It's the craziest
I'm gonna say
thing.
it.
Open your messages and go to our text thread.
I'm there.
Send me a voice memo and make sure you say Dave & Buster's within the voice memo.
Zach, let's go to Dave & Buster's tonight.
So it sends through to you. Brian, I have perfect service down here.
I just sent it now.
I'll never get that text.
What?
It's crazy.
Is that real?
I'm not joking. This is our text thread. I will never get
I'm
that
doing
text.
another test. Zach, let's go to Applebee's tonight. That's crazy.
Applebee's is fine.
I'm
but
trying it again.
Dave & Buster's.
Dave & Buster's. It says I'm typing on your phone.
Yeah, but I'll never get that text. How crazy is that?
Why is that a thing?
People are saying it's a thing because of the and symbol, the ampersand, whatever it's called.
So if I say and for anything, it won't work?
If it's typed out, it will send. But the ampersand, whatever that logo
Zach
is,
and Brian.
that'll work because it's not the ampersand. So yeah, I got that
Yeah,
text.
that worked.
Apple hates fun. They don't want you to invite your friends to Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, that is nuts. I love Dave & Buster's.
I'll never get that text ever.
Maybe they'll fix it and you'll get like 40 Dave & Buster's invites.
Eventually, all life on Earth will be destroyed by the sun. The sun is gradually expanding, and so we do, at some point, need to be a multi-planet civilization because Earth will be incinerated.
I'm hearing this for the first time. No one's ever told me the sun is going to burn
This is not a
Earth.
disputed fact.
I'm not disagreeing with it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I didn't know this was our destiny, to get roasted by the sun.
Yes, and I don't think there's anyone who would disagree with that.
We didn't have a say on who could be president. I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
The fact that he's willing to admit that, I really respect. But the most interesting thing in what he said is that in my position, you have a choice.
You're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
He knew that if he split the party, then Trump was more likely to win. It's a little unfair of Andrew Schultz to make out like he could have known that was going to be the result.
But it ended up being him anyway, so why don't we burn it down?
Because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back.
Bernie's got to roll the dice and say, listen, I know that if I pull attention away, we're going to lose. Like that basically becomes a guarantee. The system is, Tom Bilyeu's words, corrupt. It is what it is. That's how politics works, says Bernie. And so I'm going to put my weight behind Clinton, who for whatever reason has more control of the Democratic machine than I have.
There hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008. Are they not also a threat to democracy? We often hear...
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
Now, I think Bernie is quite literally, I think he's an unhinged lunatic. The policies that he puts forward are so emotionally driven and so economically illiterate.
I think that's a bit harsh. I think that
hit me with it, because
I think it comes from a good place though, because I think
what the fuck does that matter? Literally, what does that matter?
You represent people, so you represent the interests of those people. And if I could do something that can help those people, I'm going to try to push legislation that can help those people.
I agree, but when your legislation has never ever shown that it helps your people, why the fuck do it?
There's a chunk of the border between India and China, and it's literally just like hundreds of soldiers from each country looking at each other, and bats, and they like frequently get in fights and beat the fuck out of each other.
With chains, everything except for the rule is no
No
explosives.
guns.
So it's even more specific than that. It's like they signed a treaty where they said, okay, we both got nukes, right? How do we make this not go hot? We're only going to use what's called cold weapons. So they have artillery cannons, like, but they have to be 200 meters away and they can't use it on each other. So they end up just getting into brawls, and like every once in a while they'll kill each other.
There's just footage of it on the internet. It's crazy.
Okay, someone's getting executed. North Korea just tried to launch their brand new 5,000-ton warship, which is meant to be the pride and joy of its navy. But instead of a spectacular launch, the ship capsized halfway through the reveal right in front of Kim Jong-un. They tried sliding the ship into the water, but it got caught under its own weight and started sinking. And this whole thing was being broadcasted to the entire world. So he got so embarrassed and said this was a criminal act by his naval engineers and they would be punished. In other words, $500 million sank underwater in front of the dictator for the entire world to see.
You're telling me you had a full hysterectomy, which is huge. I feel as a woman, it's a pretty big deal. I'm not speaking for women, but
it was hard emotionally, physically.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I was done having kids, but
still,
you
had a full hysterectomy because of the problems that you're having, and you had no idea it was related to your classroom.
And it sounds, even saying it out loud, to me it was weird. When my doctor told me this, I thought, this is crazy. Are you sure? And they were like, we're sure.
Sure what?
So once I finally went back to my doctor and I was like, hey, I don't know if this is possible, but my classroom is infested with mice. This was in March last year. So I did I did the hysterectomy. I did a whole bunch of tests. I was constantly going back to the doctors.
Nothing's coming up.
They're just like, we don't know what it is. You know, your endocrine system is crashing. Your pituitary gland's not functioning. You're in adrenal failure.
Did you think mold by any chance, or
no? I mean, like they think environmental, right? When you start. So then I was like referred to functional medicine. So then I went to functional medicine, and they're like, you know, maybe it's a detox of something. Are you in a weird environment? And I was like, well, I mean, I work in a building, so with mice. And they were like, well, tell me more. And so then I kind of dropped little tidbits, but I was very like, oh, that's just weird, right? It's just weird. And then last March, while I'm going through all these tests, different things, different medications, I was cooking with my students in my room, and I had a guy come in to look at my oven to fix it because it sounded like a spaceship. He unscrewed the top. So I was like, I got this guy coming in, got permission from the district to have him come in, so it's not like I did anything, you know, out of line. And he unscrewed the ovens, and my kids were making pizza, and he lifted the top, and he kind of tells me to come over, and he lifts it, and the insulation of the oven was soaked in mouse urine and covered in hundreds of droppings. So then he's like, do you want me to go check the other ones? And I was like, yeah. So he went and checked them all. They're all infested. So
these poor kids.
So I immediately, I felt so stupid, but I started to cry. So I was like, oh my God. So I told my students, I'm like, stop what you're doing. And he's like, they're fine. Let me go get the principal. And I'm like, yeah, go get my principal. I want her to make this executive decision of what we do next, because I have been the one begging to get help. And I was so pissed and so frustrated to be in this situation again.
What do you think is the number one predictor
of there being child abuse in a home?
An absent parent.
Okay, very, very reasonable answer.
Yeah.
And so usually in lecture one, when I'm teaching an evolution psychology course, I'll ask this question and I'll start putting all the students' answers. And they're all reasonable answers. If there is alcoholism in the home, if one of the parents had been abused in their past so that they mimic that behavior onto their children, then all reasonable. Well, what if and by the way, no one guesses what the real answer is. So then I say, well, guess what, guys? You just listed 25 reasonable predictors. The number one predictor is 100-fold more predictive than anything that's on that board. I've lectured this a million times. I'm getting goosebumps telling it to you right now. What I'm saying is 1 to 100. So it is astronomically greater effect than anything we would typically publish in science. Well, the number one reason, Stephen, I've kept you in suspense long enough, is if there is a step parent in the family. So there's 100-fold increase in child abuse if the home is not made up of two biological parents. This is why the fable of Cinderella is such a universal fable, because it speaks to an evolutionary principle. The nasty stepmother is only differentially nasty to her stepdaughter. She's actually very, very nice to her two biological daughters.
You see that all the time. You hear it on
We know
movies
the
and
truth
whatnot.
now here. Yesterday, I was riding through the Texas Panhandle, and I ran across this city named Memphis, Texas. And it's the first thing I saw. Amazing. But what's interesting about it, there are 3 of these in massive mounds in this area in Memphis, Texas. Now, doing my research on this area a while back, I read about Medicine Mound, but they never talked about these structures in Memphis, Texas. Crazy, right? We know the truth now.
So I thought that I was depressed my entire life, like very severely. I didn't want to live pretty much my whole life. I hated school. I hated every job that I've had. And it wasn't until I quit working that I realized that my soul this whole time was rejecting the system that we live in. And I truly believe our mental health crisis and our well-being is all symptoms of this slave system that we live in. And don't get me wrong, I love the convenience often of today's world, of the food and, you know, all of the things, but we were meant to be in community helping each other.
Wait, why do you record backwards?
He's joking. See, the good thing
No,
just because it gets a lower angle, so I don't have to bend down.
Smart. And you can just flip it.
Should have told him like, that's how we break the algorithm.
That's how you do the algorithm? That's what he does, Neon?
Hold on, show it!
Just expose it, I don't care.
Upside down.
Wow! That's how he blew up, huh?
That's crazy.
Well, what do you think happened on 9/11?
What I know happened on 9/11 was we could have prevented it. And number two, what happened, I work very closely with the architects and engineers. You've had them on.
Yes.
I work closely with the families of 9/11. I work closely with the firefighters. The most poignant story, you ought to show it on a tape, is when Deputy Chief Oriole Palmer, one of the most decorated firefighters in the city, takes his unit to the first building. He gets in an elevator. He's got all his equipment on, 40 pounds of gear with his team. They go up 40 floors in an elevator while the planes have already hit. He gets off the elevator and you hear him say in the microphone, "We're on the 40th floor. Everything's okay. We're going to walk up." He gets on the 50th floor. "It's okay. We're going up higher." He gets on the 60th floor. "It's okay. We're going up." The Oriole Palmer, battalion chief, reaches the 78th floor, the floor of impact, comes out of the stairwell, and you hear him say as clear as day, "We're here, the floor of impact. We've got 2 fires, and we can handle them." And the building collapses in within 1 minute.
Get out of here.
No, that's true. Every American needs to listen to Oriole Palmer.
How
Like, it's gonna come out one day, y'all. But when it does come out, nobody's gonna care. As bad as that sounds, I mean, think about JFK. They just released those files saying there was more than one. Did anybody care? Didn't even make the news, y'all. Didn't even make the news. You know, it took what, 60 years? It happened in the 60s, 40, 2020, we'll call it. It came out. We always had our suspicions forever, you know, for the longest time. Just like right now, we got our suspicions. But the day it comes out, and that changed the world, y'all. That changed the world. They did a lot of laws. A lot of people, you know, they lost trillions of dollars at the Pentagon. The day before, they came out and did a press conference. A lot of things transpired that day. Went for a 20-year war that accomplished nothing really. And then it's going to come out that it was all an inside job. And nobody's going to care, y'all.
Lifelike realistic are the masks. If you were in the room
I
with
am,
this
but-
person wearing the mask, would you notice that it's a mask?
You would not notice unless you told a really hysterical joke and the person couldn't laugh hysterically. It had limits. It could smile, couldn't laugh hysterically. I wore those masks in a couple of pretty tight situations and no one knew until I announced it.
Jonna, is it right that you wore that in front of George H.W. Bush, and could he tell?
I did wear it. Brent Scowcroft was in the room, Bob Gates, John Sununu. No one else had any idea until I took it off.
No idea. I had no idea.
So you did it just to show them that this was possible, is that right?
Absolutely. I wanted the president to see that we had taken disguise to a really dramatically new level.
Did you take one home as a souvenir? Are you in that? Is that you? Are you in there? Is that you in the mask?
This is just me. In the image, yeah, that's me. Taken off my head.
What?
And John Sununu had not been listening. He'd been working on his own notes. So he just glanced up when I did that, and he let out this funny little noise, like not a shriek, somewhere between a shriek and a squeak.
Jesus Louise.
And George H.W. Bush was the president in what? The 80s? Was it the 80s? Late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s? And they had that technology on. Look, they're barely telling us about it now. Right? We're barely seeing about these masks. That was in the 80s, y'all. Imagine now.
Have you seen Steve Harvey's page? The guy's getting obliterated. If you go to Steve Harvey's TikTok, the comment section, oh my God, you guys, ease up on the poor man. Can't
Steve
even
Harvey
believe
or
what's
what?
going on. But there's some of the funniest posts you've ever seen in your life. People are very creative, I would say. But yeah, you definitely have to go and check out his section. Or it's on his last video. If you click on him, then click on the first video that pops up in the links. His videos are he's just absolutely getting obliterated. I mean, I can't even say. There's a post on there that says I slipped in baby oil on the way to the comments. You can't make this shit up.
Oh my God, I don't even know if you ever seen this video. You remember we were talking about Bohemian Grove, right?
Yeah.
Alex Jones, when he exposed them, I'd never seen this footage in my life. He goes up to this guy that was at Bohemian Grove. I'll show you right now. Let me find it. Let me find it, bro. This video is insane.
One last question. I read a Washington Times article many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, what was it,
He sets him up perfect.
1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you. Oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, "Hey, I don't run around in the woods naked." What did that mean?
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
Yeah, but that's just crazy, right? There's a lot more.
Notice
I would
how
just stop
he
there.
doesn't deny.
answer. Notice how he doesn't answer any of the questions directly. That's already a bad sign.
Saying that's none of your business is crazy.
He said that's none of your goddamn business. He said I disrespect you for that.
You seen those videos of guys getting in elevators with e-bike batteries and the batteries explode? It's horrific. He sets it down on the ground and it just like sparks and then just full on fills the elevator with fire. There's nowhere to hide. Show it to Greg. So this poor dude, he sets it down. Oh look, before he even set it down. Yeah.
San Francisco is a model for the nation. We show that San Francisco is in the forefront.
Wait, so did y'all see how Katie Santry had the whole TikTok glued to her page yesterday? Mind you, she posted a video 3 days ago. She said, yo, I think my house is haunted. Because she woke up and her computer was broken. Alright, so if you didn't know, she went live yesterday. She was digging in her backyard, found a rug that was halfway in the ground. Jokingly, she like, yo, must be a dead body in this rug. So you know, once people seen that, it went crazy. People start telling her, yo, listen, dig that up. Dig up whatever it is in there. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. You already know how TikTok is. So everybody realized it's too difficult to dig up. So she called the police. So she like, do you want to come to my house and look at a rug? They came into the house, saw the rug. It was nothing. So they left. So you know how TikTok is. TikTok still telling her, yo, forget that. Dig that up. So they was going to have a BYO shovel party. Like, bring your own shovel and let's dig this up together. TikTok, y'all crazy. And right before that, the homicide department called and was like, yo, listen, let us come over here and let us bring these dogs over here. Let the dogs put some work in. So the homicide department bring the dogs. Everybody is online, like 100,000 people in her lives. So the dogs come, the dogs go to the spot where she was digging at, and the dogs sit on the rug. You know what that means when homicide come and them dogs come and they just, you know what that means. If it ain't on your FYP page, you live in a hole. Listen, search Katie Santry. Just click the magnifying glass after this video right here, and it'll take you straight to it. Cause
there is something extremely weird and extremely Walt Disney going on, if you get what I'm saying. The farther I look into the plane crash that happened 2 days ago, the crazier it gets. So I'm sure you've heard by now, it was Daniel Williams, the former drummer for the Devil Wears Prada, that passed away in the 666 plane, the one that hit the military housing. But there was something just majorly off about it. This was his last Instagram story saying, hey, you look at me, I'm the co-pilot now. We'll get to the weirdest part in 1 second, but you may know they have a song called Sacrifice, and it had this kind of cover of some guy, right? And would you believe me if it doesn't look just like Daniel? And as if it was not weird enough that the guy who passed away in the plane crash 666 was a bandmate of the Devil Wears Prada. Now this right here is the most damning part. Do y'all remember when the movie Frozen came out? And everyone thought the movie Frozen came out because something with Walt Disney may be happening. That way they could just completely cover up the Google search. Within just 12 hours of a plane going down having the number 666 with Daniel Williams on that plane, the former member of Devil Wears Prada, the Devil Wears Prada 2 starts advertising for their new movie. All over the place. Just hours after a member of the Devil Wears Prada passes away. And all of a sudden you type in Devil Wears Prada on Google and you start getting advertisements for their new movie. Something is not right. Especially that the news allegedly got caught using an old picture of the plane because they weren't able to find. I don't know what they told you, but these coincidences, they do grow on trees apparently.
What is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Oh, Hereditary. There's a scene in that film that if people watching have seen Hereditary, they already know what it is. I don't have to say anything else. It is ahead of its time, I'll say that. And people that know the film will know what I'm talking about.
What's the scariest movie you guys ever seen? I don't know the one that affected me like days after was the Amityville Horror, right? I forgot what time, 3 o'clock, something around there. They would start doing what they do at 3:15 or whatever it was. For like a week, I would wake up in the middle of the night every night dreading looking at that clock, y'all. And I was either, let's just say it was 3:15, I was either at 3:16 or 3:14, never at 3:15 or whatever the time was. So that's one movie that like got me, days after, like it stuck with me. But what is one of the scariest movies you guys ever seen? Let me know down below. I like scary movies around scary season, right? Like in the fall, sit down, watch a scary movie. So let me know your guys' scariest movie you've ever seen.
The next thing that's gonna make us all go, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's coming.
Like, how many guys were on video saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party"? How many people like openly talked about being there?
LeBron?
Yeah, how Ashton Kutcher, all these people. Like, you guys all went. You didn't see nothing? You didn't see nothing?
Yeah.
Donnell went? Yeah. Did he? Of course he
He's
did.
on tape, like, trying to defend himself.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is he trying to defend himself right now?
It's pretty funny.
I got to call him up.
Jeffree Star did a YouTube video of the e.l.f. primer putty makeup. This was like 10 years ago. e.l.f. was a drugstore brand. It was like the cheapest, junkiest brand of makeup. And he's like, this is just as good as the $60 version. I went to Walgreens and I just stood there all day and watched moms and kids coming in and they emptied the shelf of e.l.f. cosmetics. That video got like 11 million views on YouTube. And I called the Wall Street analyst who covered cosmetics for one of the big 3 sell-side banks. And I asked, do you see the Jeffree Star video? And they're like, who's Jeffree Star? They don't even watch YouTube. They are so out of touch. This is when e.l.f. was at $7 a share. It went up to like 160 eventually.
How do you, like, if you have this ability, which you do, I'm not sucking up, it's just, again, it's provable, to put together a picture, an extraordinarily accurate picture of what the future holds, like, what does that do to you? How do you sleep and how do you live? And like, why haven't you totally destroyed yourself? Like, those are kind of not thoughts that most people, including me, are burdened with and don't really want to be burdened with. But like, how do you turn off the visions of the future in your head?
Well, I mean, I appreciate you saying nice things about me, and obviously God gives us all different gifts, and I do have some gifts. But I think a lot more people have these gifts than really realize it.
But you can prove it. That's why I've obviously we're friends, and I like you as a man. But you can prove it in a way that others can't because it's on tape. So it's not really debate. Has Alex Jones had, more accurate predictions of the future than any living person in the world that I know of? We can prove that. We don't have to argue about it. I've got the freaking tape. So again, it's not even a compliment. It's just an observation. And I don't know why I seem to be the only person who's obsessed with this. Like, how did this guy predict this? No, everyone's like, oh, he's crazy. Okay, maybe he's crazy, but he predicted this.
Listen to how lockstep their rhetoric is.
The dramatic scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Up next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
This is manipulation and brainwashing. This is literally what they're doing is they're hypnotizing people. That's why they got stuff moving like this all the time. With the carousel moving at the bottom. They want stuff to be moving because somehow it puts you in a slight sense of hypnosis. And while you're in hypnosis and walking around in hypnosis from watching this stuff every day, this is what they interject into your psyche. He literally showed a video of the topic in which he wanted to discuss. And if you are not prepared to defend what you see on that TV, you shouldn't be in there anyway with him. But if your people are getting hypnosis and they're going through life in a hypnotized state and they're listening to this information, they believe it as if it's true. And we all know it's baloney.
sell 450 32-ounce lemonades out of that. At $5 a pop, you do the math.
What's one lesson you've learned since starting a business?
Don't listen to people telling you it's a bad idea. When I told my friends that I wanted to do a lemonade cart, they laughed. They said, why would you do lemonade? Why don't you do a hot dog cart? I said, well, everybody's got a hot dog cart. Who's got a lemonade cart? Well, nobody. I said, well, then there's your answer. After 6 months or so, I was making more money at this than I was at the other job. So when this thing is full, at the end of the day,
Dope.
Exposing the weirdest experiment in weather history. Did this scientist really snack on a cloud? Meet Dr. Nimbus McFluff, a quirky scientist with one big dream to taste a cloud. Armed with a paramotor, a Ziploc bag, and a snack-sized dose of curiosity,
just living his life,
he soared
y'all.
into the sky. His mission? Capture a piece of cloud to eat. Now, if you're wondering, clouds are made of tiny water droplets and air. Not exactly gourmet, but Nimbus was determined. He zoomed into the fluffy white sky, scooped a Ziploc full of misty goodness, and the moment of truth, he opened the bag, inhaled that sweet cloud aroma, and took a sip. Turns out clouds taste like, wait for it, nothing but Nimbus. He called it the taste of adventure. Would you ever eat a cloud? Let me know below.
I think that's legit.
A woman was electrocuted while using her phone when it was charging. He notices and goes on to save her. He literally saved her life. And this happens more often than you think. People die from this, like this 14-year-old girl from Vietnam. She was lying in bed using her phone while it was charging. Next morning, she was found dead. The culprit, a cheap, frayed charging cable. If your cable looks like this, throw it away.
They really got us out here thinking that we're the problem. Like we just don't work hard enough, like we're lazy. Like if we budgeted a little better, we wouldn't be broke. Nah, we were born into debt. Born into a system that was never built for us to win. Especially if you're black, especially if you're poor. They hand you the scraps and then judge you for starving. Run your credit, deny your loan, and then tell you to smile at a job that doesn't even pay your rent. And then when you snap, you're angry, you're ungrateful, you're the problem. Nah, dude, I'm just done pretending that this shit is normal. And if you feel it too, you're not alone.
I go to movie theaters. One day I went to a movie theater. I had like a large Coke. On my way out of the theater, I dumped out the Coke. I kind of washed out the cup. I filled it up with water and ice, put it in my car, and I went home. Finished the water. Cup stayed in my car for a couple of days because it was in the side. Otherwise, my car is pretty tight. You've been in my car. It's always relatively clean.
Yeah.
Went to a movie the following week. I was like, holy shit, the cup's here. I put it in the hood of my hoodie, snuck it in, went right in, filled it up, back in. So I just went to go see Accountant 2 the other day, and I banged out another free Coke from AMC. Now that you know about that, do you respect me more or less? Because it's a bitch move, it's a cheap move, but you know what my lifestyle is. But how do you feel about that move?
I respect that.
Do you respect
because you're not stealing from anybody. There's no human that's being hurt by this. And it's fountain soda, which is like the least measurable of any of the concessions that are being sold at a movie theater. They know how many pretzel bites they are. They know how many boxes of Junior Mints they are. Someone might have had a lot of ice. It's victimless.
And as soon as I get in, I go right into the men's room, pop it out of my hood, come right back out without even using the men's room, right? Obviously, it's just a ruse, right to the thing, do my own soda, and I'm right there. I think it's a victimless crime.
You're a genius, my friend.
I respect it, y'all. Sometimes you got to tax these places. Lord knows they're taxing the hell out of us, right? Sometimes you go through self-checkout, you forget you got something at the very bottom. You know what I mean? They got the cart, and then under, they got the little rack, like to put the 40-pack of waters or whatever. Sometimes you forget, right? Now, let's be honest. Let's be real here, because I'm going to get a lot of comments. You're an asshole. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, get out of fantasy land. Sometimes you got to tax these Walmarts, y'all. Sometimes you got to tax them, right? They tax us. They get these things for pennies on the dollars and sell us them for dollars. And they don't give a damn about us, right? And you got to give them a little tax, y'all. Let them make them remember sometimes we run this, not you. You know what I mean?
Crazy things happening in the world right now. A woman who was missing for over 60 years was just found alive and well earlier this month. She's now living in her 80s under a new identity and said that she has no regrets about walking out on her 2 kids and husband. The 70-year-old Ugandan man who notoriously has 12 wives, 102 children, and 578 grandchildren recently admitted publicly that he does not know most of their names. Microsoft CEO said that 30% of all the company's code has been now written by AI. A student who was rescued from Mount Fuji needed to get a second rescue 4 days later because he went back for his smartphone. And if you were wondering, he did not end up finding his phone. A Georgia jail went on lockdown after a killer went missing for 12 hours until the cops realized that they forgot him at the courthouse jail. Americans will now need a visa and proof that they have at least $2,000 in their bank account if they want to visit Brazil. Chinese automakers have now built their own version of the Cybertruck, which to me kind of looks like it had a baby with a Hummer.
What a lot of people don't realize is from here to the moon is 208,000 miles roughly. You think about that, and that's far, but like Mars, think about this, is 250 million miles. 250 million miles. So, that's a little different thing because when you go, it takes about anywhere from 9 to 11 months to get there, depending on the alignment.
Are you going to fucking Mars?
And so,
Jim, are you going to Mars? It sounds like you're...
I wish I was. I think you have a chance to do a show from there when you're 80, Pat.
You put Bibles under the foundation?
Yeah. On top of that, my whole team is really into scripture, and we're all very like-minded. And I'd mentioned before, I feel like I'm just a conduit. I live a lot of my life in paranoia at times, and so he is the only protection. So yeah, we put a Bible in every corner of the foundation. We wrote scripture on every single exterior stud in that building for protection.
It's a bracelet that people are wearing that sells for $5,000.
No, that's so stupid.
It's just like a block of sellotape, and it's just got Balenciaga written on, like, underneath all the tape.
Is it actual tape? Do we think?
The creative director of Balenciaga wanted to experiment with transforming mundane objects into luxury goods to challenge what we consider as fashion.
I'll never get people. But anyways, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. Hope you made it. If you made it this far, we got some good news coming up in this little chit chat section, y'all. But if you made it this far, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. I got some plans today. What are we doing, y'all? Mama Bear is going to her parents' house. So that means I get to go do my man stuff. I get to go to Harbor Freight. I get to go to Lowe's. I'm going to go buy me some steaks because I'm planning on just eating the same thing every day. Steaks every day for dinner, y'all. I'm going to get some ribeyes at a spot that sells some cheap ribeyes. So that's the plan today. After I'm done editing this, after I'm done uploading this. Other than that, family's coming. Mom and dad are coming next week. They're supposed to come this week, but as you guys know, I was sick. The baby was a little under the weather, so we postponed it to this coming up week. So we got some projects me and my dad are going to be doing. We're going to create a little stepping stone thing to my grill, because I'm going to push my grill all the way back in the rocks up against the wall. So we're going to build a little thing right there, just pavers, big pavers, because I was going to do pavers in my backyard, but that's too expensive, and I'm like, I'm not really feeling that, so we're not going to do that yet. But we're also going to paint this back wall, y'all. I decided I want to paint it black. I've seen YouTube videos of people's background is black, and it just makes the colors pop a lot more. So I'm gonna do that. I want to buy some brighter lights back here, so that's what I want to do. I might go to check out some spots today, see if they have any like at Lowe's or something. But if not, I'll watch some YouTube videos and find the best one and have a real bright light back here. That's what I need. But anyways, let's get into the big news, y'all. If you made it this far, leave a comment down below. Something to do with fish. It can be ocean, it can be an island, it can be a fishing pole, it can be fish, shark, water. Leave a comment down below. You must be subscribed, because we're going to be doing a giveaway, y'all. This is the giveaway time. I wanted to save it for the end. I didn't let nobody know about this. The real ones are going to be in this giveaway, y'all. We're going to be doing 4 giveaways. Let's do $60. $60 Amazon gift card. So you must be subscribed. I know who's subscribed. I know who's not in the comments if I just put a little setting on. So you got to be subscribed and leave a comment. What'll get you in the comment? You be subscribed and something to do with the fish, y'all. We'll do that. I'll draw the names. We'll do it on the next coming videos. You'll send me your email or send me an email and I'll send you that gift card via email, y'all. So make sure you guys do that giveaway time. I was supposed to do this at 10,000 subscribers. We're like at 17,000 subscribers, but I had to do a lot of things with these paychecks. Now this paycheck, you know, it's time to give back to you guys because you guys had blown my channel up over this past couple months, you know, through the roof. So I want to, you know, share my appreciation with you guys and do a nice little $60 giveaway. I was going to do 2 like $120 giveaways, but I thought I'd break it up and that way more people have a chance. So we'll do 4 $60 giveaways. The next giveaway will be at 100,000 subscribers. So we got a ways to go, but I think we're going to be there pretty soon, y'all. So make sure you guys do those qualifications down below. We'll be doing the giveaway here on one of the upcoming episodes this week. Hope everyone out there has a good day, has a good Memorial Day. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow on Monday. This is Govia signing out of the Man Cave. See you guys on the next one. Later.